alongside Tyler Fulghum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This is Bet, and we made it. We haven't been canceled yet.
I mean, you
couldn't get us. ESPN, you tried.
It's still 2020, so maybe if there's a slip up in this last show, who knows?
We could be canned sometime in the next 29 minutes. Fingers crossed. Anita Marks with Prop Art, the college football playoff semifinals, the Parlay to Paradise. We got a lot to get to on today's show. A reminder, if you're looking for any more great sports betting content from us, Doug Kazarian, all of our friends at Daily Wager, go to our YouTube channel, which is where we're migrating a lot of that stuff. YouTube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. Yesterday was the start of a new segment here on the show that we're going to do throughout the NBA season. Still to be named. DFS DraftKings Showdown, NBA style, between Tyler Fulghum and myself. And that could not be right mathematically because I could have sworn I won big. Look at that.
You had some good plays in there. Miles Bridges, giving you 48 points for the Hornets.
Kevin Durant had a nice game.
I was curious why you didn't like Durant.
I thought, you know what? I thought the room. I was like, we're both going to be taking one of Durant or Irving. Yeah. He's going Durant, I'm going Irving. Irving will play better.
While I zag.
And then I sat there and I watched the game play out, and it was like Irving got hot in the fourth, but didn't play well in the first three quarters. That's not going to beat my man Tyler Fulghum. I'm glad Iguodala didn't come through for you. How's that feel?
Well,
it didn't even matter.
Iggy, I didn't need you. You could have thrown up a goose egg, and I still would have won.
Hit this guy up on Twitter. Let us know some name suggestions for the segment, as we're going to be doing this every Wednesday. This guy right here currently leads 1-0. Let's bring in Anita Marks, our good friend, for a little prop art. We're going to go around the world very quickly. 3 prop bets per person. Anita, how you doing? Happy New Year's Eve. You all set to go?
I am. Happy New Year's to you guys as well, man. In Vegas. I love it. I've never spent a New Year's in Vegas. That's a bucket list.
We'll get you out here at some point when we're allowed to have some fun again. Let's start with you. Ladies first, as always, and defending champ, as always. You've been kicking our butts. First prop is yours. Second is Tyler's. Third is mine. And around we go. Go ahead. Lead us off.
All right, I think Tyler's really going to love this prop bet. John Wolford, he's going to be getting to start over golf with the Rams. Now, keep in mind, over 1,200 rushing yards his last 2 years at Wake Forest. Also, he played in the AAF with the Arizona Hot Spots. Oh, man, right? I think it's hot shot. Sorry, he is going to be a hot shot this week. On top of that, he averaged 20 rushing yards a game when he played in the AAF. I think Sean McVay is going to get really creative here and really put together a phenomenal game plan for Wolford. I like the over in rushing yards for him this week. So I think it's a sneaky good play. And Tyler, you're going to love it, man. I know you're a big Rams fan.
I am hungry like the wolf, Anita. I like it a lot. Let me go to the NBA. I've been riding this train all year long with Russell Westbrook. We know the guy is a walking triple-double. He's done that multiple times in his NBA career. He's triple-doubled in every game he has played with the Washington Wizards this season. Tonight, he matches up with the Bulls again, a team he triple-doubled against on Tuesday. And I'm going right back to the well at plus 170. Why? These teams are top 3 in pace. Chicago 1, Washington 3. Neither is very good at defense, bottom 3rd in the league. And again, Russell Westbrook is a walking triple-double. As a matter of fact, our stats and research here dug this up. If you had placed a $100 bet on Russell Westbrook to triple-double in the first game of the season and then rolled it over to every game to this point, if he triple-doubles tonight, you would have in your bank $9,112 with a $100 investment on Russell Westbrook. So I'm liking the walking 3x2. Russell will do it again tonight.
Alabama, whoa, Nelly. As I try to channel my inner Keith Jackson, I'm going to go to the first of the college football semifinals, but I'm going to play Alabama in the first half, -11 over Notre Dame. It's the gift that keeps on giving, people. We've been trying to tell you that on Daily Wager and here on Bet. Alabama, #1 in the country in first half scoring at 29 points per game. Alabama's 11 opponents this season have been outscored by the Tide in the first half by an average of 19 points per game. Remember back to the SEC Championship, Alabama was laying about 10.5 in the first half against Florida, who's a much better offense than this Notre Dame team. Now, give the Fighting Irish respect. They played better defense than Florida, but I like Alabama -11 in the first half over Notre Dame. Anita, round number 2, you're leading us off. What do you got?
This is a guy that I've loved all season long, and that's Curtis Samuel for the Carolina Panthers over total yards. Keep in mind, Christian McCaffrey is not going to be back this week. Mike Davis is out. Robbie Anderson is dealing with a groin issue. He could be the feature Swiss Army knife. Taysom Hill, who? What? I mean, that's what Curtis Samuel could do. 160 total yards last week. And going up against the Saints, where are they? Where can you really score on them is in the middle of the field. He comes out of the slot a lot. He's going to be running the football. So, I mean, it's probably one of my favorite plays this week, guys. Curtis Samuel over total yards.
All right, maybe I'm getting a little greedy with this, guys, but I'm going back to the NBA, and I'm predicting yet another triple-double. This time, Ben Simmons. Now, this one's really juicy at plus 625, so you get $6.25 back for every dollar you bet if Simmons goes 3 by 2. Got a matchup with the Orlando Magic, and we usually think of the Magic as a slow, plodding team. They got Vucevic, but this year, they are 4th in the NBA in pace, and when Ben Simmons excels, when Ben Simmons puts up his best stat lines, it's in games where he can grab rebounds off the glass, get up and down the floor, get to the rim himself, or kick out and create for teammates. So in a matchup with a surprisingly pace-up team this point in the season with the Orlando Magic, I like Ben Simmons to notch his first triple-double of the season, and it's great return on your investment if he does.
All right, let's go to the NFL. I'm going to bet that the Colts do not make the playoffs. It's currently sitting at plus 170, but hear me out. I'm going to give you another option that could return more money on your investment. The Colts need to beat Jacksonville this weekend. They're a 14-point favorite. That's going to have to happen for them to get in, but they need help as well. They need either Baltimore or Cleveland, or you're going to need Miami or Tennessee to lose. Now, take a look at what those teams are paying on their money lines. Money lines. If you take those 4 teams, if you believe the Colts win or that the Colts won't get in because these 4 teams all handle their business, money line it. Money line parlay. Instead of $100 paying $170 on this no prop, 100 will pay $271.62.
Wow,
That's Joe Fortenbaugh doing math. Good, sound financial research for you going into the 2021 year. I'm not saying call me Warren Buffett as I accidentally popped the button off the top of this shirt. Maybe a little extra Christmas week there. But that's where we're at. You got a couple of options there. I do not think the Colts make the playoffs. I'm pivoting on what I said earlier in the week. I don't think Buffalo's going to play their starters the full game against Miami. Round number 3 of Prop Art. Anita, to you. What do you got?
So this plays into what you just said. So reports today is that the Colts are not going to show any scoreboard of any of the teams that they need help from. What does that mean? Players are going to be totally focused on the Jaguars, who, by the way, have won the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. So they're putting their worst players out there. I love every Colts player this week. 2 specifically I'm going to be focusing on. Zach Pascal getting targets, 6 targets last week. He scored 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. So I like the over in receptions, over in receiving yards, and Pascal to score a touchdown against Jacksonville. And I love Jonathan Taylor this week. Oh, on Sunday, he hits a beautiful thing. Over in rushing yards and scores a touchdown as well. He's been an absolute beast. And again, I love the fact that the Colts are not going to be showing the scoreboard. Colts, their players are going to be focusing on doing the best they can. I love these 2 players.
Anita, once again, flaunting the rules by shoving a 4th prop in there rather than sticking to 3, but we'll allow it, Anita, because you're a good friend of the show.
She keeps beating us, too, so, I mean, I guess
if
we want to make her follow the rules, we got to get a little bit better at prop art here. I'm going to go to the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers playing in a game that matters for the Packers to secure home field advantage, that matters for Aaron Rodgers to all but lock up the MVP of the league over Patrick Mahomes, and to potentially end the Bears' season, because the Bears need a win to get in the postseason or help their chances. I think Rodgers goes over his touchdown passing prop in Week 17 at Soldier Field against the Bears. I love that Rodgers is kind of trolling the Bears. Look, this is big Chicago versus little old Green Bay. We know who the real big dog is in this matchup. Rodgers owns the Bears. 18-7 ATS in his career against the Bears.
Ridiculous.
It starts that include the postseason as well. He is just, as Pedro Martinez would say, the Bears' daddy. And he's going to throw at least 2, I think 3 touchdown passes, because I'm guessing the player prop's going to be set at 2.5 with Rodgers the way he's cooking this year. But I'm going to go over it. He can have 3 or 4, probably a couple to Devontae Adams as well.
All right, nicely done. To round this thing out, it's one that Anita and I both agreed on with Daily Wager yesterday. I think we both wrote about it on ESPN Chalk as well. Cleveland Browns team total over 26.5 points. Even when Pittsburgh's defense has wanted to play, wanted to compete, wanted to win, over the last 4 games, they've given up 25 points per game. We just need the Browns to get to 27, and we're getting word that more and more Pittsburgh starters are going to be resting this weekend, most notably TJ Watt along that defensive line. Cleveland needs this victory. Pittsburgh does not care about this game. Cleveland gets the points early. The one thing I would suggest, pay attention to the weather. It could be raining Sunday morning in Cleveland. That's all I'm going to say. Keep your eyes on it. But I like the over 26.5 points. That's it for this week's installment of Prop Art. ESPN sports betting analyst Anita Marks with us here, doing a bang-up job as always. Thanks, Anita. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
All right, we got more bets to make, okay? We're not going to end the year with conversation and compliments and resolutions, or we might have some resolutions coming up, but we got some more gambling to get to. Sunday spreads is what we're going to call this. You're going to handle a handful of games. I'm going to handle a handful of games. Whether or not we can win remains to be seen. You're going to kick us off. Cleveland laying 10, total of 42 against the Steelers.
Oh, gosh, this one I hate, but I'm going to take the head start with the Steelers.
You're going to hate bet it?
I'm going to hate bet it. Steelers plus 10. I'm going to take the head start with the Steelers. The Browns, it's plus 9 now.
Plus 9, look at you getting some extra value.
Well, the thing the Browns are the Browns. Again, that only matters a little bit because all those teams, most of those players are on this year's team. But the Browns have had to shut down their facilities this week because of COVID protocols. Now, the NFL is saying this game is going to be played, and they don't seem to be kind of wavering from that. So I don't know what information they have, but this is just too scary for me right now to back the Browns. I think the Browns right now just need to win the game. They need to worry about covering. They don't need to worry about blowing the Steelers out of Heinz Field. They just need to win the game. So take care of that, Browns, before I give you the credit to start, betting you laying massive wood in Week 17. That's why I think the Steelers is the better bet for me.
Game number 2, it's Green Bay laying 5.5 against Chicago. You just hit on this game. I'm with you. I'll lay the points with the Packers. Hey, Chicago's on a 3-game winning streak. Congratulations. You can only beat who they put in front of you, but the teams they put in front of you are as follows: Houston, Minnesota, and Jacksonville. Ugh, not exactly the who's who of an NFL schedule right there. Green Bay, 19-7 against the spread in their last 26 games against the Bears, 16-5 against the spread in their last 21 games against the Bears in Chicago. Go Packers, I'm laying the 5.5. Game number 3, it's the Titans laying 7.5 against the Texans. Who you got?
We know how to make money when the Titans are involved in a game, don't we, Brother Joe?
Yes, we do.
Bet the over. And Ryan Tannehill starts since he's taken over as the quarterback. The over is 24-1, including an 11-3-1 record this season. Derrick Henry should feast against a Texans defense that's dead last in rush yards allowed per game and dead last in rush yards allowed after contact. Not a good recipe for success against someone like Derrick Henry, is it? Deshaun Watson also has a juicy matchup on the other side against a Titans defense that's 28th in QBR allowed and can't rush the passer. And then if you want to get into the kind of intangible things, that J.J. Watt outburst at the microphone should inspire the Texans to bring their best effort on both sides of the ball. Although I think that matters more on offense with Deshaun Watson than the Swiss cheese defense that's going to be eaten up by Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. So over 56.5 because the Titans are involved, and that's what the Titans do.
Houston stinks. It's like every time I've wanted to get behind them, they're like, oh, this could be the spot. They get rolled, man.
It's
Talk
amazing
about
you can stink as bad as they stink when they have a quarterback like Deshaun Watson.
And J.J. Watt.
Exactly.
Like, you have 2 future Hall of Famers.
Right.
Watson most likely, possibly.
Right.
But, what are you doing? All right, game number 4. It's the NFC East showdown, not the Washington-Philadelphia showdown Sunday night. We're talking about the Giants catching 2 points at home against the Cowboys. I will be playing the Giants here. What do the Cowboys do better than anybody else when the game is on the line, the season's on the line, the division of titles on the line? They melt down. This year will be no different. They're actually going to go on the points. Get this. They're going to go on the road and lay points in a divisional matchup despite the fact that they're 2-5 straight up, 2-5 against the spread on the road this season, getting outscored by 37 points. But they're going to lay points on the road. The Giants have been awful. This game will be awful. Bet it, don't watch it, because you're going to set yourself back years in terms of football knowledge with some of the guys out there making decisions. But I'm going to take the 2 with Big Blue. It seems like it's a foregone conclusion to most people that Dallas is going to win, and then it's going to be the ball's going to be in their court to win later in the day. I think the Giants just shocked the world earlier in the day, and it's a complete meltdown there for the Cowboys. All right, Cardinals laying a field goal at the Rams. What are you thinking?
Total at 40.5 as well. I just mentioned we know how to bet games or wager games when the Titans are involved.
Yes.
We have similar trends on the opposite end when the Cardinals and Rams are involved, which is shocking because Cliff Kingsbury, Sean McVay, Kyler Murray, these are supposed to be dynamic offenses. Brother Joe, the Rams at home this season, where this game will be played, SoFi Stadium, 7-0 to the under when the Rams are at home. The Cardinals on the road this season, 6-0-1 to the under. So these three teams with this particular matchup, Cardinals on the road, Rams at home, 13-0-1 to the under. Now it is a low total at 40.5.
Yes,
There's a reason why. The Rams offense stinks right now, and it's going to its backup quarterback in John Wolford. Kyler Murray, his best weapon, compromised. His legs are hurt, and if he can't run, he is not a dynamic passing quarterback.
I ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
Oh, I like Forrest Gump
You ain't
call
got
right
no legs,
there.
Lieutenant Dan.
And the Rams have that personnel. Jalen Ramsey can negate someone like DeAndre Hopkins, and Aaron Donald can get after a compromise, especially with his legs, Kyler Murray. So under 40.5 with the Rams and the Cardinals. Keep the trend going. I hope the Rams win, but keep it under 40.5.
All right, I'll finish off with my favorite one. It's going to be Washington minus 1.5 over Philadelphia. Philadelphia has nothing to play for here. They're the only NFC East team that literally has no chance to win the division. So do you think they're going to bother showing up here? They haven't shown up in any of the previous few weeks. What would make you think they're going to show up here? The secondary's depleted. Fletcher Cox may not play. And I know everyone's over the moon about Jalen Hurts. But remember something. He's completing only 55% of his passes, and he's got 4 turnovers in 3 games as the starter. That's nicht so gut, as I bring some German to the program, against a Washington defense that ranks 3rd in opponent yards per play and hasn't allowed any of their last 6 opponents to score more than 20 points. That is the conclusion of Sunday spreads as we turn our attention to Friday afternoon/night. College football semifinal between Alabama and Notre Dame. That'll be 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, followed by Clemson and Ohio State, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Good luck making these 4-hour games. We'll see how that plays out. We've been talking about it for a while now.
Yep.
All right, we've been going back and forth. We've been sussing through everything. It's time to make the final picks. Clemson is going to be coming up. Alabama is laying about 20 with a total of, where are we at right now? 65.5? 65.5. So your final pick for that game, where are you going to go?
It's so many points to lay in a college football playoff semifinal, but Alabama always shows up in these instances. Notre Dame traditionally does not. And when I look at the matchup for this particular season, Alabama has this Bugatti, Ferrari, Lamborghini offense. Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Najee Harris, all kinds of weapons. Great offensive line. Notre Dame has a good defense. But I was talking with Forrest Connolly and Barrett Jones, former offensive lineman for the
Get some
Alabama
steel-toed
Crimson Tide.
boots. He's dropping names.
Dropping names on ESPN radio yesterday. And Forrest thinks that this Bama offense could be as good or better than the LSU offense that absolutely blitzed college football last season on the way to Joe Burrow setting records and winning a Heisman, Justin Jefferson proving he may be one of the best receivers to come out in a long time, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire just making life miserable for defenses trying to tackle him. If Alabama's that good, if they are that good, we saw it with LSU last season. Is that good? John Thompson used to say that. Is that good? Yeah, Alabama is that good. And 20's a lot, but I'm going to do it against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
I talked about this earlier in the show. I see no reason to deviate. You've been on it with me as well throughout the course of the year. Alabama minus 11 in the first half against Notre Dame. This is one of the best bets we've made throughout the course of the season because it's a gift that keeps on giving. Alabama, first in the country in points per game in the first half, 29. They've outscored their 11 opponents in the first half by an average of 19 points per game. Remember, Alabama was laying about 10.5 in the first half against Florida in the SEC championship game. Now it's only 11 against Notre Dame. Notre Dame plays better defense, but Florida has a much, much better offense. And Alabama had no problem covering that number in the SEC championship game. The show goes on, as they like to say. Alabama minus 11 in the first half. Semi-final number 2. ESPN, 8 p.m. It's going to be Clemson laying 7.5 against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Total of 66.5. I'm going to start this one. I'm going to lay it with Clemson. I do not think Ohio State is a great football team. And I know there are a lot of Buckeye fans out there that will disagree. That's okay. Here's your chance to prove it. But I haven't seen it this year. What's your marquee win? Penn State by 13? Nittany Lions stunk this year. That's my alma mater. I'm going to go ahead and say it. The win over Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game? Barely, right? Northwestern can't score any points. this is a Clemson offense that is going to shred that defense, right? It's a downplayed secondary from last year, downplayed pass rush from last year. Justin Fields is battling that thumb injury, and Clemson has been a freight train since Trevor Lawrence came back, winning by an average of 31 points per game. Laying the 7.5 with Clemson, it's my favorite bet in the college football semifinals. What say you?
All right. It's something that makes my knees shake a little bit when it comes to wagering in college football.
Caviar?
Ooh, caviar would be nice.
Caviar. You should get some caviar on this show.
Caviar.
Just
That
split
would be
caviar
fantastic.
all over the place.
Do you like to dip in the sour cream and the
Relatable.
potato chip? That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Also great on scrambled eggs with like some goat cheese and dill. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's turned this into a food show now.
Is it a
Now I'm
pick or a
hungry.
recipe?
Again, my knees shake a little bit when I do this in college football, but I'm going to bet the under.
Oof.
Bet under 66.5.
Good luck.
In a game that features maybe the first 2 picks in the 2021 NFL draft, 2 quarterbacks no less, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Clemson's defense is peaking at the right time. Okay, they just absolutely obliterated Ian Book and Notre Dame, and Ohio State's offense is objectively better than Notre Dame. So this is a much tougher test. However, a lot of time to get ready for an Ohio State team that I do think has some flaws, that is not as potent and dynamic offensively as teams we've seen in recent years with some of the weapons they've had there. They have a little more inconsistency in 2020 for obvious reasons. And then I uncovered some trends that helped my mind get to this. Clemson, in its last 5 college football semifinal games,
Okay.
5-0 to the under.
That's incredible, by the way, that they've played in 5 semifinal games already.
And then
Incredible.
Ohio State, in its last 4 bowl games, 4-0 to the under. So this is a bowl game that Ohio State's playing in. This is a college football semifinal that Clemson's playing in. The defense is good. Ohio State's offense not as capable as normal. And Tony Elliott, the play caller for Clemson, not going to be there on the coaching staff. So there's another thing that I rely on to ease the mental anguish of betting an under in a college football game featuring Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
I like it. So there you have it. Those are the picks for Friday. Now, final day of 2020, which has been
Some
been
kind
a
of
year.
year.
It's been a year. We're just going to call it that. It's been a year. New Year's resolution, betting perspective, food perspective, whatever it may be. What do you got for us?
All
What
right.
are your New Year's resolutions?
Number 1, I resolve, brother Joe Fortenbaugh, to write down the roulette bets that we make on each and every show so we can properly keep track of our chip stack.
I love that resolution because we have tracked none of this.
Has not been good
We're just
at.
throwing chips at each other every show. It's ridiculous.
Secondly, I resolve to stop tinkering last minute with my conviction plays in DraftKings lineups because I always sit there 10, 15, 20 minutes before kickoff, before lock in NBA, and I'm looking at all this news that's out. I'm looking at these projections. Oh no, Russell Westbrook played it back-to-back. Oh my God, is he going to get in trouble? If you have a conviction, Tyler, at 10 a.m. in the morning, just stick with it. Trust your gut a little bit, okay? At least allow yourself one conviction play and stick to it. Lock that flag plant in and stop tinkering because yesterday in other lineups, I took Kevin Durant out because of some projections for Jason Tatum, and that burned me big time. So stop doing that. Finally, I resolve
Then, by the way, the next time you don't do that, it's going to have been the right decision
Exactly.
to have
I
made
should
the
have
shift.
tinkered. That's the beauty of daily fantasy. I resolve, most importantly, brother Joe, to take the under on my peak golf handicap in 2021, and I'm setting that line or that over/under at 3.5.
3.5 for your handicap.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I don't get to a
So your
3
game's
or
getting there.
if I don't get to a 3 or lower in 2021, now that I live in Las Vegas where I can golf all year long, I might just cut my hands off.
That's similar to having a resolution like, I'm going to take more days off this year. I am going
I
to
can
golf
resolve to do that.
more this year. I love that.
I can resolve to do
All
that.
right.
Can I change it?
I have got 3 for you as well. Number 1, mark my words, I am going to turn a profit betting F1. I am going to. I started watching the Drive to Survive Netflix series like 2 years ago. I got hooked. And when you cover sports and you're around sports all the time, it zaps a little bit of the fandom from you. I'm not saying it's a negative thing, but you're around it so often, you're seeing all these new angles. You don't look at it the way you did when you were a kid, when you were a true fan, right? That's how I am with F1 now. I know almost nothing about it, but I'm fascinated by these races. These guys are all so wealthy, so well-to-do. It's such a bourgeois sport.
Oh, gosh.
I want to be a part of that bourgeois sport. So I think it's like 20-some races. I am going to turn a profit,
Caviar
damn it,
and
betting
F1.
F1. I'm going to have at least one bet on every F1 race next year, and I'm going to turn a profit.
Caviar and F1, you must have got a nice raise this
Look at
year.
me. And that's the thing. I didn't. I'm just going into debt. I'm just going into debt to keep keep up with a lifestyle that I cannot afford.
The American way.
New Year's resolution. Speaking of which, how about this? Just because I like you. Just giving money away.
Yeah, all right. I'll
Number
take it.
2, no more Maction unders. It's a young man's game,
Understand
betting the Maction. And you know what? I'd rather lose betting overs than win betting unders. How's that sound? Again, just throwing money away. Throwing it away.
Got 2 kids.
I
He's
am
got a wife.
not
He's got a mortgage.
betting unders in the Maction ever again. Ever again. I always had this great rationale, and it starts well, and then I get blown up. I'm just not going to deal with it. No more unders in Maction next year. And number 3, no more ridiculous multi-team parlays. I've got to stop throwing all this money away, as I've clearly demonstrated in the last few moments. So, no more moneyline parlays, which, oddly enough, brings us to a moneyline parlay. It's the parlay to paradise, what we do on this show every single week. A 9-team parlay for $50 in the hopes of hitting so that we can retire from this job and move to paradise. Not necessarily together, just move to paradise. Now.
Yeah, I love you too, brother.
Yeah. All right, so last week we had a shot at 24K, and we blew it. We blew it. I would like to just move on.
Yeah,
I would like to
fine,
move on.
let's do it.
Get that off the screen, please. Thank you so much for bringing it up to remind the people that we have yet
To hit
one of
a
these
9-leg
seasons.
parlay.
But all it needs is one.
Just
We just
take
need
one,
one
baby.
week. So you've got 4 picks. I've got 4 picks. And LaFonso Ellis, former Denver Nugget, is our special guest making his pick as well. Would you like to lead us off?
I like it. LaFonso from East St. Louis. I'm from the west side of the river.
There you go.
So we're local kids from the 314.
Where's
All right.
Nelly from?
Nelly's on the west side. He's on the Missouri side.
Nelly,
LaFonso
okay.
is on the Illinois side. I'm going to start in the NFL. Ravens laying 12 against the Natty.
Okay, coming out swinging.
How about the Bengals getting that win last week? It doesn't scare me.
Congratulations.
Doesn't scare me. Lamar Jackson knows that the Baltimore Ravens need to get a victory. I think they hammer Cincinnati. Detroit money line against Minnesota. You know I like to juice our
Yes,
potential.
sir.
And I think Detroit at home against a Minnesota team that's kind of given up on this season at plus 240. I like that. Tennessee, Houston.
No
over.
Dalvin Cook in that game.
No Dalvin Cook as well because he's attending to a family emergency. So again, that helps me there. Tennessee, Houston. Already talked about betting the over when Ryan Tannehill's involved. Green Bay, you like them against Chicago, as do I, because Aaron Rodgers is going to make the Bears' life miserable on Sunday. There's my 4 legs. You have, my friend.
Bring on Fortenbaugh's 4. I've already broken down a lot of this throughout the course of the show. We will continue. I will lay the wood with Alabama. Not going to mess around with that one. I'm going to take out the pitching wedge from 100 and just nicely swing it to put it up on the green. That'll be pick number 1. Number 2, I've laid out the case repeatedly for Clemson. We are here at the link. I am literally, after this show is over, going downstairs to the sportsbook and putting more money on Clemson.
Wow.
To cover that 7.5. I love them in that game. UNC money line. I'm taking a page
I
off your
like
playbook.
what you're doing. That's why I was
I
clapping.
want to
earlier.
juice it a little bit. I want to juice it. UNC has not played in a major bowl game in 70 years. Now, they've had some key players who have opted out of this game. Some skilled players at the running back position and linebacker. But I love the fact that they're going to. This is a huge recruiting tool for Mac Brown in the race to catch up to Clemson. Texas A&M missed out on the playoff. I don't know where their heads are at. I'm going to take a shot with the Tar Heels. And then I laid out the case earlier, Washington over Philly. Philly's got nothing to play for. Washington's defense has everything to play for. Now that Haskins is out of the equation, I think that locker room is ready to roll. LaFonso Ellis from East St. Louis. What's he got for us? I don't even know.
I mean,
it's not even on my list.
Juicy money line nonsense.
College hoops. Oh, look at us. We juiced this thing to the point where it's $53,000. Hey-oh.
2020 can be good after all.
Wisconsin minus
It's
8
salvages.
against Minnesota. I have
Some
no
Big Ten hoops?
analysis for that game. The only thing I know is that Minnesota shocked Iowa and Luka Garza like a week ago. So Minnesota was in a good spot there. But hey, LaFonso would know more about it than I would.
He would know. I love this. I love this. 53 grand, baby. Let's go.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love it too, in theory. We need to win 9 games in order to get there. Ugh. Which one's going to be the one that dooms you? Which one do you hate the most from your list?
From my list?
Yeah.
Probably Detroit money line. Probably the big one there. Either that one or the Ravens. Again, I think they're going to hammer the Bengals, but
The Ravens in the first half is probably a really good bet as well.
Either
I
way.
think they're going to go out, hammer them.
I like them all. I like them all, Joe.
All right. Air Bump, it's been a great year.
Hey,
working
it's
with
been
you
a
on this
fantastic
show.
year. Can't
I'm
wait for
looking
21 to be
forward
better.
2021.
But after hearing some of the things that you need to do and resolve in 2020, I think you need this more than I do.
I need some money. Yeah, I'm
I
going to
think
need
you
some
this
money.
more than I do.
Drop one. It's wasteful. As wasteful as can be. He's Tyler Fulghum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This is Bet. Most importantly, thank you
Yes.
for watching the show. We greatly appreciate it. Have a safe, happy, and healthy New Year's, and we will see you next week, starting on Monday, to kick off the NFL playoff run.